driver Carrington gets dumped by Benami. The leaders are winding up here. Daytona, the big one is out.
Good evening, race fans. My name is Finny Fitzsimmons with Team Green Squad, presenting with you round 11 of the Rubbins Racing Next Gen Series every Tuesday night, sponsored by Buckkicker. Once again, presented by Team Green Squad, 1080p 60 frames a second, 1 hour long races, one fast repair, great racers with great attitudes. Just pulling up our race information now, we can see this week we're at Martinsville, the Paperclip Speedway, also known as the Half Mile of Hell. Definitely lives up to his name with the amount of crashes going on, heavy braking zone after heavy braking zone. These drivers having to struggle not only with the brakes and locking up their tyres, but also have to worry about cars around them. With the heavy braking zones, drivers can miss their braking and go into each other. It's very, let's say, well known for drivers crashing into each other. As we're rounding out the qualifying session now, looks like we haven't got any more drivers on track, unfortunately, to watch. We can pull up our timing tower in just a second here, so we can see our qualifying order. Provisionally in pole, we have Jared Reed in the number 5 car, setting a bench timer for 19.65, followed by half-10 timer Nick DeLeo, and then Nick Leo in a number 69 dual bag machine, coming home in that P3 spot provisionally, around about 2 tenths behind. However, though, that is our provisional standings as it is. It looks like we can now pull up our grid for today's race. Coming up in your pole position, we have Jared Reed in the number 5 car coming home with P1. Then we have Nick DeLeo in P2, Nick Leo in P3, Robert Mattis Jr. in P4, Stefan Gibson coming home with P5, Jared Reed starting in P6, Aaron Sayer in P7, Garrett Hall in P8, Jake Vinosky, in P9, Leaf Smith in P10, Mark Cassano P12, Carter Lins in P12, and Butch Taylor rounding out the grid in P13. That is your grid here today for round 11 of the Buckkickers Next Gen Racing Series. 140 laps here at Martinsville. Long way to go. For sure, we have 20-second laps here today, around about. These drivers are definitely going to have to not only manage their tyres, but also manage fuel as well. There may be one stop, maybe 2 stops. We'll have to wait and see for the strategy these drivers do choose to take. But for now, just waiting our drivers to grid up and get going here for our few pace laps we have before we go green. As pace car rolls away, Jared Reed will control the restart in the number 5 machine. On that inside line, you can see him in the red and black Ford. We are watching him right now. Other people to watch, Nick Leo starting in that P3 position on the inside line behind Jared Reed. He has definitely been a hard charger and a man to watch this season coming into the penultimate round. He's definitely one to watch as well, especially with the championship as well. We have so many drivers in contention. It's definitely an exciting one, folks. It looks like we're going round for our second pace lap before we go green. Drivers revving their engines. They cannot wait to get moving here at Martinsville Speedway. You can just see Dominic DeLeo on that outside line in the 22, just so eager. Getting on that power and onto the brakes, trying to warm those front brakes up, warm up those front tyres. The quicker you get them up to temperature, the quicker you're going to be off the start. As pace car dives in, Jared Reed is the man to watch here for the restart. Or for the start, excuse me. As we're coming out of turn 4. And the green flag flies. Jared Reed off to a good start on the inside. Nick Leo still too wide. Dominic DeLeo on that outside line. So it looks like Nick Leo is able to take that P1 spot as you have too wide further back. It looks like Stephen Gibson is trying to go down the inside of Dominic DeLeo. Dominic DeLeo falling down the order, losing 2 spots as it is. It looks like Stephen Gibson on that inside line, number 53, able to make it pass into that P3 position. He's already up 2 spots. Jared Reed reading the pack already though. He's stretching that gap. Nick Leo closely following behind, however, in the dual 69 back machine. Closely followed by Stephen Gibson. That's your top 3. So it looks like Dominic DeLeo is going to make a move back on him down the inside. They're side by side coming down the back straightaway. Coming into turn 3. So it looks like Stephen Gibson on the outside line. He goes into the wall. Very early days here. So it looks like Nick Leo also going into the wall. That P2 sitter falling down the order once again. He's falling down now, 3 spots down from where he began. Back down in P6 already. So we hear metal crunching in the background. So that's our first caution of the night already. On that 4 of 140, the air flag flies, signifying the first caution. Definitely an action-packed first few laps. It looks like Jared Reed able to keep his nose clean there, still out in front. I forgot to mention this before, this is definitely going to be a race of attrition, ladies and gentlemen. With crashes left, right and centre, it's so easy to run into the back of the car in front of you, or just brake that a little bit too early and cause a collision. Drivers so close with the heavy braking zones, especially with these stock cars as well, with so long braking zones, with the brakes just not as powerful. It definitely poses their challenges for these drivers. It looks like Stephen Gibson, Nick Leo and Leaf Smith all choosing to go down pit road to get repairs, I imagine, as they got damage to their front right after going into the wall. Will they choose to use their fast repair, or will they choose to take the repairs just so they still have that get out of jail free card later on in the race, as it's so early on, you never know what's going to happen. It's happened before, last round at Atlanta. Some of our very quick drivers taking a plunge to go for their fast repair and then choosing or falling into another incident later on in the race that would have been saved if they had that fast repair, but they just didn't have it left because they'd already used it earlier on in the race. So you definitely got to think we have 140 laps here at Martinsville. We're already on lap 7, however. I think it's going to be a long night with cautions though, with a lot of incidents. I would keep that fast repair if you can. Take as much repairs as you can and stay on that lead lap. And just pit the next lap over and over again until you get those repairs finished, because you do not want to use your fast repairs so early on. It's just so risky. Looks like Nick Leo coming back onto the grid, and P11 down 8 spots from where he began. However, some of the mans to watch here. We have Butch Taylor in the number 33 Toyota machine, up 6 spots from where he began in P7. He's on an absolute charger here, all the way from the back of the grid. He's, as I said, he's up 6 spots where he began. Miles Super Speedway, Martinsville even, is a very difficult track to overtake. Making up those spots is very, very tricky. He's definitely going to be one to watch later on in this race if he continues to make his way up the field so quickly. It looks like, I think that was the pace car going in once again. Jared Reed controlling the restart once again. Dominic DeLeo on that outside line, needing the outside. Robert Mathis Jr. getting right onto the bumper of Jared Reed. He's eager to get that restart as the green flag flies. Dominic DeLeo with an equally good run on that outside line. However, the inside line, Jared Reed able to hold it. So it looks like Robert Mathis Jr. on that inside line and the number 29 able to get past Dominic DeLeo. Actually, no, they're still side by side coming into turn 3. It looks like though that inside line just gives you the least amount of distance to travel, and it is the quicker line here. So ideally these drivers want to get down as low as possible, get off that high line. So it looks like Mathis Jr. running high. Dominic DeLeo just seeking that opportunity. He dives down the inside to take that number 2 spot. Jared Reed still stretching that gap out ahead. Brilliant job from him so far, and the rest of our drivers, as Dominic DeLeo sets our current fastest lap of the race with a 19.7. So it looks like we've got a little bit of battling further back. I believe that's definitely, no, it's not Stephen Gibson. My apologies. That's Butch Taylor involved. He's down the inside, or on the inside of the number 42 of Aaron Sire. It looks like he has to concede the position. It looks like also the number 4 of Carter Linz is having a go around the outside. Can't quite make a stick. However, he's having to stick 4 P7. However, he is still got 5 spots from where he began. Similar to Butch Taylor, he's 7 spots from where he began in P6. He's still on the hard charge. We've still got a long way to go here at Martinsville. Anything can happen for these drivers. Oh, so it looks like we've got a spinner in the background. That looks like Aaron Sire in the number 42 machine hitting that inside wall. Doesn't look to be so damaged. Bear in mind, because Martinsville is such a slow track, aero damage will not pose as much of an issue. So we may be able to carry on without too much impact to straight line speed. Very unfortunate for him, however, he's dropped back down the order. Jared Reed is still our leader, holding that gap to Dominic DeLeo. Dominic DeLeo isn't letting go though. He's just sticking in there, maybe waiting for a mistake from Jared Reed, or maybe just conserving his tyres now so he can use them later on in the race. See though, those front brakes just glowing on the front of that number 5, as you can see them just getting oh so hot because it's braking zone after braking zone. They have no chance to cool down before they have to brake again. It's absolute onslaught of brakes. You just don't have an opportunity to just take a nap. It looks like Jake Vanoski, however, in the number 7's had a spin as well, coming out of turn 4. Waiting for the field to pass by in order to turn back onto the track as the caution flag flies, keeping him on the lead lap crucially. Looks like he got away with that one a little bit. Looks like scot-free with not too much damage on that number 7 alley back machine. So it looks like, actually I say that, a little bit of damage to the left rear. But that shouldn't pose much of an issue. He should be all good to carry on. Jared Reed, for our second caution of the night, will be leading. As it looks like Robert Mattis Jr., Carter Linz and Nick Clear all chosen to go down pit road. Maybe they're trying to take their stop early. Maybe they have a little bit of damage that I haven't noticed. Looks like there's a little bit of scratching to the side of Carter Linz's car. And Nick Clear still got that damage to the front right bumper. Interesting strategy though, because I don't think Rob Mattis Jr. has any damage. I wonder why he's coming down pit road. Maybe he's taking his pit stop early, knowing there's going to be more cautions, so he'll be able to stretch that fuel so long. And then still have fresh tyres for the end of the race, so he makes a second stop possibly. Then maybe the strategy, Rob Mattis Jr. going for the 2-stop, abusing the number of cautions we have tonight. So it looks like Aaron Sire, Jake Vanoski and Mark Cassano also choosing to go down pit road behind him. Crucially though, Jared Reed still our leader, followed by Dominic DeLeo on that outside line. Will he be able to make it work this time? We'll have to wait and see. Nick Leo and Jake Vanoski getting out just in time, as I believe we're 2 to green now here at Martinsville Speedway. They've got to make sure they catch up before 1 to green and before we go to the green flag. However, it is such a short lap, I'm sure they'll be able to catch back without any problems. Already on lap 20 of 140. It goes so quickly, however, we've still got an hour-long race. You know, it's still 50 minutes to go with this race. So these drivers definitely shouldn't be in a rush to take up those positions, because especially with the amount of cautions, the more feisty you get, the more risk you are of a collision. And obviously you want to reduce the risk as much as possible when you're a racing driver, but still capitalising opportunities when they arise. So you've got to balance that risk versus reward, as it looks like we're going dual file as the lights are off on the top of the pace car, meaning that we will go green this time round as the pace car jumps down into pit road. Once again, Jared Reed controlling our restart. Dominic DeLeo on your outside line. in the number 22 machine. And the green flag flies, and minus 4 speedway once again. Jared Reed on that inside lines. It looks like, however, Dominic DeLeo is able to hold it side by side, still too wide. I say that Jared Reed was such a greater exit on Dominic DeLeo, because he's just able to go on that throw just a little bit earlier, because he has more space to work with to the wall, as the driver's already going single file here. It looks like though Carter Lynn's the only other driver going too wide. He's down the inside number 52 of David Reed. So it looks like Jake Vinosky once again having a little bit of a spin in the background. He's into the pit wall. And it's not what these drivers want at all, as our leaders are coming round once again. That may mean he goes a lap down, as it looks like, oh, he's getting so close to leaders. However, he is pulling off to the inside line. Good on him, making sure he stays out of the way, keeping the green flag flying. Very, very responsible from him, as it looks like Leif Smith is having to hold back from Carter Lynn's in the number 4 machine, as Carter Lynn's is just looking to make that move. I say that, lap 25, caution number 3 comes out. I'm just going to pull up our NASCAR timing tower now so you can see your favourite driver's position, or the third caution of the night. So you have Jared Reed in that P1, Dominic DeLeo, P3, Garrett Hall, or excuse me, Dominic DeLeo in P2, Garrett Hall in P3, Butch Taylor in P4, Stephen Gibson, your top 5, followed by Leif Smith, Carter Lynn's, David Reed, Mathis Jr. Outside Nick Leo, Mark Asano is your order tonight, as Dominic DeLeo, Butch Taylor, and of course Nick Leo with the damage are all down pit road. They're taking this opportunity to go for their pit stop this time round. Maybe they're thinking the same strategy that Mathis Jr. had before. He knows there's going to be more cautions. Just make the pit stop now, make it last, and then pit right before the end, hopefully, if there's more cautions. And be on fresh tyres compared to everyone else, and you just storm through the field. So I believe actually that was an issue with Mark Cassano having an incident. We'll see if we can get a replay, as I think he may have been involved in some sort of crash, possibly. It looks like going into one. He lost the rear end going into one, just getting hard on those brakes, turning in just a little bit too antsy, being a little bit too impatient on that steering wheel, not slowing down enough. It looks like, yeah, he came down onto number 7 of Jake Vinosky as well, and that may have been the incident that brought out the caution here tonight. To go back live once again though, Jared Reed still our leader. Obviously with Dominic DeLeo now pitting or going down pit road. Garrett Hall is now our leader on the outside line. Will he be able to make something of it that Dominic DeLeo couldn't? Maybe work something special. However, looking at our highest climber at the moment, Carter Lynn's in that P5 spot, 7 spots from where he began in the number 4 Chevrolet. Doing an absolutely brilliant job. Working his way up, however, up 6 spots from where he began is also Leif Smith in a 65 Chevrolet. I must say I do love the colour scheme. It definitely stands out from the rest of the drivers with the neon orange. I am definitely a fan of that. With the Buckica branding as well. He's a driver that likes to be seen. A driver likes to be seen for sure. As it looks like, yep, the lights on the top of the pace car are out once again. So hopefully we can have a nice event-free restart, hopefully. See if we can get some green flag running here at Martinsville Motor Speedway. Garrett Hall, your new outside, or first car on the outside in your P2 position. You can see him in the HM Black Ford Mustang machine. As the pace car drops down into pit road once again for the 3rd restart of the night. And Jared Reed goes once again. Garrett Hall not off to a brilliant start. As though Stefan Gibson is down the inside of him. As it looks like though he is able to hold that P2 position for now. The cuts down below, blocking any opportunities for the 53 to get past him. As it looks like, I believe that's Leaf Smithing a little bit of battle with Robert Mathis Jr. as he makes his way up. Unfortunately, those high spots not lasting too long. He's lost a couple on that restart. However, Carter Linz is up one more spot as it looks like he's involved in an instant with a 53. As that brings out the fourth caution of the night. It's more crashing in the background there, you can see. I think we've definitely got to get a replay on that. As we see our wreckage rewind. We have to see what happened here. So it looks like Carter Linz may have got into the back of the 53. It just caused a stack of events. Just a series of events that caused so many drivers to be caught up in that incident. As it looks like, I believe that may have been. I cannot quite work out who that was. However, that means damage for a lot of our drivers now. So do they take that fast repairs? It looks like Stefan Gibson, Nick Leo and Leaf Smith all choosing to go down pit road to fix the damage they have. They may choose to use their fast repair now or just live with the damage, because the aero damage obviously in Martinsville is not so much of a factor because we don't reach that higher speed as we do in Daytona and Talladega. You don't have to worry about your aero as much. As our leaders now coming round, will Leaf Smith and Stefan Gibson will they be able to make it out of pit road? Before the leaders make it around, it's very close, but I think they just about made it. It looks like, as it stands at the moment, all of our drivers are still on the lead lap. Jake Vanoski able to make his way up with the lucky dog back onto that lead lap after the incident he had earlier on in the race, crashing into that pit wall. Fortunately for him, he doesn't have to live with the consequences so long as we're on lap 35 or 140. Still quite a long way to go. That's the driver I was talking about before that I was trying to work out. It's Mark Cassano in the number 44 without a front bonnet. Still choosing to go green with it. Quite a lot of damage to that number 44 machine. Not quite sure whether that'll affect him in other areas, not just aero. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Butch Taylor still up 8 spots, as well as Carter Linz in your P4 and 5 spot, as the pace car rolls in once again for the 4th attempt at the restart. Once again, Garrett Hall on your outside line as they get an equal start. Jared Reed getting a slightly better start. However, Garrett Hall on the outside line a little bit better on the brakes. Is he be able to hold it around the outside? Unfortunately not. Jared Reed holding it on that inside line, keeping that lead over Garrett Hall. Going to be able to slot him behind. As it looks like that's Butch Taylor in the background hitting the wall and going a little bit wide, I believe. We have a little bit of shuffling going on further back as he falls down the order just a little bit more. That's Aaron Sire in the number 42 machine. Has managed to get past him. Now Nick Leo in the 69 will be next in line. We're just going to get an onboard with Nick Leo in a number 69 machine. As he tries to close down Butch Taylor, you can see this driver using all 4 gears, going down into 3rd gear for these corners, making sure they don't overheat these rear tyres, making sure they don't spin them, making sure they last as long as possible, because we still have to think about the long run here. It is still an hour-long race and we still have to think about tyres. See, such a short lap here at Martinsville. Only 20 seconds it is. I believe that's a 53 of Stephen Gibson. He's just come out of pit road. He is now a lap down. Our front four still pretty closely packed here. Jared Reed, Garrett Hall, Robert Mathis Jr. and Carter Linz. Jared Reed has led every single lap so far. Will he choose to go down pit road now, or will he prioritise that track position? As across the line for lap 44 of 140. As it looks like now, Dominic DeLeo has joined the top 5 now, making 5 drivers in that lead pack. About 46 of 140 now. These drivers settling in just a little bit now, trying to get as much green running in as possible. As I say that, looks like Butch Taylor may have involved in an incident causing a yellow flag. Commentator's curse at its strongest. We've got to get a replay of that as we watch number 33 of Butch Taylor. Looks like he makes it through the corner okay, isn't it? No, he gets on the power just a little bit too early, or maybe just that little bit too much. Being able to minimize that damage though, only lightly colliding with that barrier. No further damage, I believe, than number 33. However, that does bring out our caution, as that is Jared Reed, our leader, deciding to take the plunge and go down pit road. Followed by the rest of our drivers: Garrett Hall, Morris Mathis Jr., Carter Linz, Nick Leo, Leaf Smith, Jake Vanoski, Mark Cassano, and of course Butch Taylor, all going down pit road lap 49 for our 5th caution of the night. Dominic DeLeo obviously pitting earlier on in this race, choosing to stay out this time round. Just Dominic DeLeo, David Reed and Aaron Sayer, the only three drivers to stay out, excluding Stephen Gibson, who may be getting his lap back depending on if he gets this lucky dog. As he cross the line for lap 50 now. That's 50 laps in already. I guess time flies when you're having fun. Dominic DeLeo, our new leader, followed by David Reed, Aaron Sayer, followed by Jared Reed, Nick Leo, your top 5. A couple of drivers at full spots from where it began. So it looks like Butch Taylor is now on pit exit. Hasn't chosen to take too much repairs. So it looks like he's able to carry on with that damage he has on that number 33. Just save that fast repair for later on in case he needs it. That's a good decision from him in terms of the strategy. Once again, if you enjoy this racing, go to rubbinsracing.com or join the Discord server if you find this very interesting. Obviously sponsored by bookkicker.com as well. Go check them out. As we go one to green for the 5th time. As I say that, never mind, there may have been a glitch in the timing software. It showed Butch Taylor involved in an incident. I'm not quite sure what it was, but we must focus on this restart. Dominic DeLeo, your new leader on the inside, followed by Jared Reed on the outside line. Coming out of turn 4. Now for the 6th time, the green flag flies. It looks like, however, Dominic Reed on that outside line trying to make it work. Looks like on exit though, he just fails to get as good of a launch as drives on the inside as Aaron Sayer dives down that inside line. David Reed tumbling down the order as now he's a threat for Nick Leo and Jared Reed behind as they're going too wide behind him. Jared Reed on the outside line, number 5. Nick Leo in the 69s. It looks like Jared Reed going on that high line. He's now at fault from Garrett Hall. As it looks like every time those drivers go high, they just fall down the order. It looks like Nick Leo going high once again, conceding the place to Garrett Hall. Dominic DeLeo still our leader, holding that gap. Aaron Sayer, your P2 driver currently, followed by Jared Reed. Jared Reed working that outside line. Can't quite make it work, however. So it looks like he was spinning out in front. That looks like David Veed and Mark Cassano, bringing out the 6th caution of the night here at Martinsville Speedway. We've got to get a replay of that for sure. It looks like, oh, there may have been an incident involved before. So we can get another replay on that. It looks like Robert Mathis Jr. may have been involved in this one, causing the initial impact with David Reed. Not quite sure why it keeps going into that wide TV cameras. It looks like Robert Mathis Jr. misses his braking zone, tries to go down the inside to compensate for it, but he just can't quite get that move stick. David Reed just not leaving enough space on that inside line, causing the incident, unfortunately. Top 3, Dominic DeLeo, Aaron Sayer, Garrett Hall on lap 61. With the 6th caution of the night. As we're back under eye-pacing conditions here at the Rubbins Racing's Next Gen Series, round 11. An ultimate round of the series. Drivers are starting to form up once again, going too wide down the backstretch. As Dominic Leo, the pace car, goes into pit road. Outside, your driver on the outside line as the green flag flies. Dominic DeLeo on the inside. Looks like Garrett Hall getting really close to that bumper. Dominic DeLeo covering it off though under braking. It looks like Aaron Sire moving down the order now under threat for Nick Leo and Jared Reed behind once again. Covering both lanes it seems, making sure none of them can get past Nick Leo. Has to give way to Jared Reed. Jared Reed making his way back up once again into that P5 spot. Slowly making his way back up the grid. After he came down pit road 2 cautions ago. You're battling further back. Leaf Smith involved with Nick Leo. Nick Leo on the outside line as Jake Vanosky rolls the car in the background there. Back on 4 wheels. Fortunately, however, looks like that's number 53 of Stephen Gibson without the front bumper. Causing the 7th caution tonight. This is what I'm talking about, folks. We still haven't had the big one yet, I think. We can see so many incidents. These drivers don't want to be using their fast repairs early on in case they get involved in an incident later on in the race, in which they have to repair. It looks like Stephen Gibson and Jake Vanosky are drivers going down pit road to fix the damage they've done to their cars. It looks like Jake Vanosky is missing a rear end. I think though it's time for the replay if I can find it. Don't think I quite can, however we'll try and find it. There we go. Ooh. Jake Vanosky rolling onto his roof there. Bouncing back onto both 4 wheels. That, I believe, ladies and gents, was the incident that brought out the caution. As we can see, he has used that fast repair. He's got a nice clean car on him now. He's got to keep his car nice and clean now to the end of this race to not risk any more damage as we move on to lap 69, the nicest lap of the Grand Prix, or of the race weekend. Butch Taylor and David Reed, your 2 drivers that are not on the lead lap. However, we still have 11 drivers on that lap 69. That is very, very nice. Back under eye-pacing conditions for the 7th caution of the lap, or 7th caution of the night, on lap 70 of 140. No drivers choosing to go down pit road this time round. As we go 1 to green once again. So we'll bring up our NASCAR timing tower once again. You can see Dominic DeLeo starting in that P1 position. Garrett Hall on the outside line. Brian Mathis Jr. backing up Dominic DeLeo on that inside line. As pace car goes in. Ready for our 7th attempt. At a green flag run. As a green flag flies, Dominic DeLeo on the inside line getting a good start. Rob Mathis Jr. holding it on that inside barrier, forcing Garrett Hall around the outside. Garrett Hall getting a brilliant exit. So it looks like he's able to make his way up into P1. Dominic DeLeo, the first driver on that inside line to lose out on the first corner. Rob Mathis Jr. in that P3 position without that rear bumper. Jared Reed up into P4 now as well. Our first drivers making their way up the grid slowly but surely. With these cautions, it's slowing down the process. However, they will make their way up, I'm sure, by the end of the race. As we're reaching our halfway point now, these drivers looking at strategy once again. So we pull up our pit strategy board, we can see what laps our drivers have pitted in today's race. Our leader Garrett Hall pitting on that 48, currently on 25 lap old tyres, up 7 spots from where he began. In their number 13 car. Dominic DeLeo also pitting on lap 26 a little bit earlier. Mathis Jr. on his second stop of the night on 26 lap old tyres, followed by Jared Reed also on 26 lap old. We can see most of our drivers did pit on that lap. 26 laps ago. 3 cautions, I believe it was. Previous. Aaron Sire, our man with the longest stint so far. Ever Garrett Hall still leading this race. Getting his laps led. Followed by Dominic DeLeo closely behind Mathis Jr. in that P3 position. Now under threat from Jared Reed in the number 5 machine. Looking to capitalise on a little bit of damage he has, maybe try and get an advantage in some of the corners. If there is any sort of loss in downforce at all to that number 29 machine, I believe. However, they're going back up to the front. Dominic DeLeo getting really close to the bumper of the number 13 of Garrett Hall, our current leader, trying to steal that P1 spot from him. As he looks down the inside, once again getting really close to that bumper, just trying to pick his opportunities, waiting for Garrett Hall to make that mistake as the 8th caution comes out. Nick Leo, I think, also involved in that incident. We'll have to watch that again. It looks like under braking. The number 4 just coming in and hitting that right rear quarter panel, or left rear quarter panel, excuse me. Spinning Dominic DeLeo into that inside wall. Don't believe there's a whole lot of damage. He should be fine to carry on. However, that brings out our 8th caution of the night as Dominic DeLeo finally going down pit road for the 2nd time. A lot of drivers following. Rob Mathis Jr., Carter Linz, Aaron Sire, Leaf Smith, Mark Casano, Stefan Gibson, Jake Vanosky and Nick Clear all down pit road for their 2nd or 3rd stops of the night now. On lap 81 of 140, we've just passed the halfway point of today's race. Only 2 drivers choosing to stay out, Garrett Hall and Jared Reed, taking up your P1 and P2 positions. Most of our drivers choosing to take 2 or a full set of tyres and gas, judging to their time in their pit stalls. As an exception to, I believe, Dominic DeLeo only taking a 4-second stop. Maybe he's just topping up on fuel. Not taking tyres to prioritise that track position, come out in front of the people around you. It looks like Nick Leo down 4 laps now. That's really not what the 69 wants. Especially this late in the season. Now that's one driver also down a lap. Now we have 10 drivers left on the lead lap. As you can see, Nick Leo making his way out of pit road now. Letting all the drivers past as he should do. Let's then make our way around, crossing the line. 4 lap 84 to go, 1 to green. For the 10th time I've said that tonight. Yeah, the number 4 machine is definitely running really, really good today. We'll get focus on him in just a second. At the moment, he is only 2 places up from where he began through the pit stop stage. However, he's been running really high all race, challenging that top 3, doing a great job in that number 4 machine, bringing home the points. I'm sure he'll be able to make his way back up once again. Scoring the points for the team, scoring the points for himself as the pace car goes down pit road once again. The 13 of Garrett Hall controlling the restart, Jared Reed on the outside line. We approach the restart zone as it goes green. Garrett Hall off to a good start, Jared Reed looking to chip in. Looks like Rob Mathers Jr. though, sticking his bumper in, not letting Jared Reed go down to that low line. As they're 2 wide now, further back, as it looks like Rob Mathers Jr. has the advantage going into the corner. Jared Reed on that outside line. He's forced to go wide, as it looks like he got tagged a little bit by the number 65 of Leaf Smith. However, he's able to keep it all in one piece. Down 1 spot from that restart, down into P2, as it looks like Leaf Smith is under threat from Dominic DeLeo as they have contact on the back stretch. Damage to both of those cars, I believe. Dominic DeLeo not suffering too bad from it. Leaf Smith involved again. He spun around for the 9th caution of the night on lap 87. Loads of drivers involved in this one. Jared Reed also stopped on the main straightaway. Big crash here, bringing out the yellow flag. I think we're going to have to watch that incident once again. Leaf Smith looks like the number 22 and the 65 both tagged, causing the initial incident. As it looks like the 65 just comes down on the 44 of Mark Cassano, spinning both of them. Looks like, though, our number 4 man of Cartelin's able to make it clean as the 65 goes into the wall. I want to see what happened to Jared Reed, though. See how he was involved in that incident, as he's battling for that P2 position. How was he end up spinning? Oh, completely separate incident. He span on the main straightaway, keeping it just out of the wall, just a tiny dent, I believe, to that right rear of that Ford Mustang, keeping his car nice and clean. However, he's straight back down the order again. It looks like Jared Reed. That is interesting. Jared Reed has gone down pit road to maybe take some of the repairs, followed by Mark Sano and Leaf Smith. Dominic DeLeo also choosing to go down pit road now as well. Jake Vanosky and I believe that is Stefan Gibson, the number 53 machine, both driving well out of front bumper, giving those NASCAR Next Gens the most efficient calling possible. Air straight into that radiator with the biggest inlet. Keep our engine temperatures nice and low, I see. lap 90 now of 140. As the lights go out for the 9th time. The 10th time we'll try another restart. Hopefully we can go green for a little bit longer. Don't want to put commentator's curse on it, but I'd definitely like to see some green flag running and see how these drivers battle it out. As you have Nick Leo and Jared Reed further down in the pit, or further down the grid even. As you have Garrett Hall on that inside line, Robert Mathis Jr. now on the outside line, the number 29 machine. It looks like only 7 cars will make the start. Garrett Hall off to a good start. Mathis Jr. on the outside line, losing so much time as it looks like Aaron Sire will be able to go side by side with him as he goes into the wall there. And once again, Stefan Gibson going down that inside line, going a little bit deep, however. Mathis Jr. going alongside him once again down the back straightaway. On the main straightaway, excuse me. Over. Looks like Gibson goes deep once again. Mathis Jr. able to take that opportunity. Go down the inside for the cutback. Now we go side by side with our number 4 of Carter Lins, making his way up now into P4. As I said, up 8 spots from where he began now, in that P4 position. He has made his way up really quickly, up into that P4 spot. I'm sure he'll make his way up even further if we go green for long enough on that 94. Garrett Hall stretching the gap to Aaron Sire now, the gap 7.5 tenths. Coming to turn 1 and 2. Garrett Hall, Aaron Sire, Robert Mathis Jr., Carter Lins and Stefan Gibson, your top 5 tonight. Garrett Hall, our current leader, up 7 spots from where he began. Coming into the last stage of this race now, track position matters just a little bit more. With a lot of cautions coming out as well, you want to make your way up as quick as you can to make sure you don't get caught up by a last minute caution. As it looks like Aaron Sire going a little bit deep into that corner. Mathis Jr. on his way back up now. Will he be able to take an opportunity and go for a move? He gets closer. Doesn't quite get close enough, unfortunately, to make the move. Aaron Sire going deep once again. I'm not sure if that's the line he's taking as Mathis Jr. gets a bad exit. Carter Lins on the inside line spinning into the wall. However, it looks like we're going to keep it green here tonight. Still stays in that P4 spot under threat from Dominic DeLeo on that outside line now. Carter Lins on the inside, Dominic DeLeo on the outside. Dominic DeLeo holding it around the outside. Brilliant job from him coming up into that P4 spot. Carter Lins shuffled down to P5. Looks like our front 3 now, or front 4. A little bit of a, oh yeah, no. It is the front 3. About Aaron Sire, Garrett Hall, and Robert Mathis Jr. Your top 3 here tonight. You can see the lap down car of Nick Leo. He's 7 laps down now, unfortunately. Being caught up by our leaders very, very shortly here at Martinsville Speedway. As we hit lap 101, going into the triple figures. As it looks like Butch Taylor now going down the inside of Stefan Gibson. They're side by side coming into turn 1. Neck and neck. Who will have it on corner exit? It will be the 33 of Butch Taylor. Stephen Gibson switching to that inside now, trying to make that move back, but he just can't quite make it. Butch Taylor up another spot, 3 spots from where he began in that number P7 spot. Up 6 spots, excuse me, from where he began. As Aaron Sire dealing with that lap down traffic down the inside of Mark Cassano with the number 44. And Leaf Smith in the number 65. As Garrett Hall is able to stretch that gap to 1.4 seconds. 1.5 seconds now coming into turn 1. That is the lead that he needs now. Hopefully he's just hoping we can get some more green flag running, stretch that gap, and maybe just with that safety cushion save some more tyres and fuel for later on in the race. That may benefit you later on. We're going to take a lap on board with that P1 sitter at the moment to just see what these drivers are going through. As we come out of turn 2 down the back stretch. Keeping it nice and low onto that red and white curb. You can see the 69 of Nick Leo in front of our leader currently. Doesn't seem to be holding him up, which is good. As we'll just pull up our pit strategy board once again to see what strategies people are taking. We can see Garrett Hall on the longest stretch, 62 laps now he's been on those tyres. Maybe he's looking to go to the end now with those because he doesn't want to pit and lose our track position so crucially late, especially with the threat of cautions constantly in the back of his mind. He wants to stay out as long as he can, or pit now, and give him enough time to make his way back through the field in time. And hope that there's another caution, I'm not quite sure. However, I think he will try and live it out to the end of the race now. Stretching that gap to 1.6 seconds to Aaron Sire. Maybe Aaron Sire's just holding back a little bit, saving those tyres to push later on. Or maybe he's used them up already, and he just doesn't have enough energy left in that car to keep going as quickly. As he's sticking with Garrett Hall, the gap staying around about the same, 1.5 seconds around about. 1.3 seconds. I say that, it looks like Aaron Sire is able to close that gap slightly. You can see though how long compared to everyone else that pit stop is, or how long he's been on that stint. Surely at this point Aaron Sire will have the fresher tyres and he will have a pace advantage later on in the race. So I say that gap's starting to go down now, 1.1 seconds the gap between our leader and Aaron Sire as the 10th caution flies. It looks like Leaf Smith and Mark Cassano may have been involved in that one. We'll get a quick replay of that. Yeah, Mark Cassano getting in the way of the number 65 there. Just colliding on that inside line. Not quite sure if the 44 was trying to get out of the way or something, but not a whole lot he could have done in that situation, nor the 65. Just an unfortunate incident, I suppose. So 24 laps to go here at Martinsville Motor Speedway. 24 laps these drivers have left. So now is when that track position matters. Now is when these drivers need to think about. As it looks like Jared Reed is able to get his lap back. He's now back onto the lead lap. As Mike DeLeo, Stephen Gibson, Carter Lins, as well with Butch Taylor and Mark Cassano all choosing to go down pit road for hopefully the final time. Garrett Hall still your leader with 23 laps to go. 21, I believe, when we go green. He is on those older tyres now. And we know that Aaron Sire does have the fresher ones. He needs to pit again to have a tyre advantage, or to stick with him. So I'm not sure whether he was trying to save his tyres at that point because he had such a gap, or his tyres were just starting to drop off. We'll have to wait and see, as it looks like we've got one more lap again. So it looks like we'll be going green with 20 laps to go here at Martinsville Motor Speedway for round 11, the penultimate race of Rubbins Racing Next Gen Series, every Tuesday night, presented by Team Green Squad 60 FPS. I'll say it again, 1080p, 60 frames per second. Great racers with great attitudes, the motto of the league. As there we go, lights on the top of that pace car have extinguished. Garrett Hall on that inside line and P1, followed by Aaron Sire, your leader on the outside line. He'll try and make that work with the fresher tyres. Around the outside is the most viable option for him at the moment if he can't get that inside line. As pace car dives in for the final time, hopefully, I hope. I don't want to jinx it though. Aaron Sire hanging back a little bit, maybe he's trying to jump the start a little bit. A little bit of collision between the 7 and the 42 as the 13 goes. Number 29 of Aaron Sire off to a bad start. Mathis Jr. up into P2. Jake Vanosky falling down the order with that damage as he's down around the outside now. Butch Taylor as he goes wide, losing another 3 positions. Nick Leo now. Nick Leo on that inside line taking the position. Jared Reed following suit. As we have another incident on the back straightaway, Jared Reed taken out by the spinning car. I would love to see a replay of that one. Robert Mathis Jr. looks like he was involved in that one. A P2 sitter just spinning those rear tyres. Getting down onto the apron, coming back up. Right in the middle of the traffic, just causing absolute havoc. Oh, you can just see Robert Mathis Jr. coming down on the number 5 of Jared Reed. Nothing he could have done, obviously, because his car was loose. It was just going wherever he wanted to go, but an avoidable incident, I think. But move on from that. Dominic DeLeo and Robert Mathis Jr. drivers going down pit road. Jared Reed's choosing to stay out. That's 3 drivers without a front bumper now. However, he's prioritizing staying on that lead lap, which is oh so important here, especially with 15 laps to go to the green. Track position and being on the lead lap means absolutely everything here now. These drivers may be starting to get a bit more desperate to make up those positions now before it's too late. Robert Mathis Jr. still down pit road. It looks like he's gone a lap down now. That'll probably be his race over as far as he's concerned. With the damage he sustained, he's probably used his fast repair already in this race. I can't quite remember. This is what I was talking about, folks. You need to save that fast repair for later on in case you need it in a situation like this where you're running so high in the field, but because of an incident you got caught up in, you are absolutely ruined, because then you have to sit out the repairs, and it's going to be more, especially with damage like that, you know, big damage. It's not a 2-minute fix. There we go, 15 laps to go now as we go 1 to green. Once again at Martinsville Motor Speedway for, I believe, the 11th caution of the night. I am correct. The pace car goes down pit road, 13 to go on the green flag. Garrett Hall controlling that restart once again. Aaron Sire looking to get retribution for the last time. That last star's drivers collide once again, backing up the field. I believe Garrett Hall was possibly getting a good start. Aaron Sire in that P2 position, as it looks like he drives the field up wide, covering that outside line, keeping that P2 position. He knows the track position is so important now, as it looks like that's Carter Linz in the number 4 machine making his way up into P3, up 9 spots from where he began. Every cylinder threat from the number 7, Jake Vanoski, still has that inside line. As I say that, he's able to come down low. Butch Taylor taking that P4 spot now as well. Butch Taylor and Carter Linz both up 9 paces respectively. Well, there's Dominic DeLeo, as you can see in the background there, going around the outside of Jake Vanoski, taking that P5 spot away from him, as Jared Reed and Jake Vanoski now having a battle behind. Too wide they are. Jared Reed into the wall, he has the advantage. Coming down now, a little bit of a lock-up from the number 5. Not sure if that would affect him too much on the exit. Jake Vanoski falling down the order now, down to P7. Looking back at our leaders, Garrett Hall stretching the gap once again to a second with 10 laps to go. He's looking like the favourite here if he can keep it all in one piece and make sure those tyres don't go off too quickly as we go 9 to go. Anything can still happen in this race, as we can see Butch Taylor locking up, letting Dominic DeLeo down the inside line. Dominic DeLeo having that inside line, locking up once again. Big lock up from him, going up into number 33, hitting him out of the way, forcefully taking that position. I don't believe for a minute that was deliberate, as the 12th caution comes out. Jared Reed involved in that one once again. He's not having the best of nights, I believe. Yeah, you can just see just losing that rear end. Locking up those brakes, making sure he doesn't get too much damage from it. It's only a tap, it won't affect him too much. However, that sends him back down the order for what I believe will be a green-white checkered, or close to. Well, no, it won't be a green-white checkered, however, we will only have a couple laps left, or a few laps remaining of the race, to decide our winner here at Martinsville Motor Speedway. Garrett Hall, this favours him a lot. If we pull up our pit strategy board once again, we can see Garrett Hall on 86 lap old tyres. He's been on that set of tyres for the majority of the race. We can see all of our other drivers, our second largest stint, both being Jake Vanoski and Aaron Sire on 54 lap olds. But that's just under, just over half the age of Garrett Hall's tyres. Obviously we've been under caution for quite a while, however, surely that's got to get back to him at some point. We could see he was stretching the gap, but how much longer will he be able to stretch the gap before his tyres start dropping off? How many times will he have to stretch that gap until he can't do it any longer? The caution is really not what he wanted out here tonight, because every single time he gets the lead, it's just destroyed straight away. He loses it. So we have 5 laps to go now. I believe it will be 3 to go on the green flag. Anything could happen here. Anything can happen. Literally anything. Is all down to play now. Garrett Hall currently at P1 spot, of 7 spots from where he began. Carter Lynn's man to watch, however, up 9 spots from where he began. Up into the P3 spot in the number 4 Chevrolet. He's looking to bring in great points now if he can just size up a move on Aaron Sayer coming up into that P2 position. Or maybe on those fresher tyres make a move for the lead, we never know. If he gets through the traffic quick enough, anything may happen. In the dying embers of this race, as it looks like we still have 2 to green, I believe. So we'll be going 2 laps to go. It'll be a 2-lap dash for the win. Will Garrett Hall will he be able to hold on? Will Aaron Sayer or any other hour drivers for that matter? Will they be able to take the lead? Will they be able to make up those positions they so need to bring in home those crucial points so close to the end of the season to improve their finishing spot in the point standings? Now the lights go out on the top of the pace car for 2 laps to go. It will be green-white checkered. Bear in mind, if these drivers don't get it straight away, they have 2 green-white checkered attempts before we finish under the yellow. Garrett Hall controlling the restart for the first attempt at a green-white checkered. As he goes, getting a good start there, not giving Aaron Sayer an opportunity to catch him up as he blocks that inside line. Our top 3 still remains unchanged. Carter Lynn's in P3. Dominic DeLeo making his way up into P4 down the inside of Jake Vanovsky. So it looks like number 4 and, well, that's Carter Lynn's and Aaron Sayer both going slow on the high line. Dominic DeLeo taking opportunity, going down the inside of both of them. Carter Lynn's falling back 2 spots now to P4 as we go on to the final lap as the white flag flies. Dominic DeLeo down the inside into the final corner. Aaron Sayer left out to dry on the outside line as he spins the wheels out of the final corner. Looks like though he's lost all the positions he can. Wow. Garrett Hall coming home with the win. Absolutely sterling job from him with the strategy to hold that track position. Dominic DeLeo coming home in P3. Butch Taylor, your top 3 here tonight. As you wait for our last drivers to cross the line so we can bring up our results screen. You can see our leader doing those burnouts he oh so deserves. He is one very, very happy man for sure. For sure. As we bring up our results screen here for tonight, Garrett Hall coming home with the win in that P1 spot. Dominic DeLeo coming home in P2. Butch Taylor, your podium finishes. Carter Lynn's coming home in P4. Brilliant job from him. Butch Taylor up 10 spots from where he began. So he's our highest climber tonight, followed by Carter Lynn's in the number 4, coming home in P4. Up 8 spots from where he began. Followed by Jared Reed in P5, Aaron Sayer P6, Jake Vanovsky P7, Stephen Gibson P8, Nick Leo P9, Leif Smith P10, Robert Mathis Jr. coming home in P11, followed by Mark Asano in P12, David Reed in P13. And I believe that is your finishing order for tonight. We'll get sorted our race interviews. We'll bring up our race winner to begin with now. Garrett Hall coming home with the win here tonight. Do you get a copy? Can I hear you? Can you hear me?
Yep, got you loud and clear, man.
Loud and clear, brilliant. That was an absolutely interesting race from you. Only going with the one stop, pitting so early on in the race, going more than 80 laps on those tyres at the end. Just take us through what you're thinking in terms of strategy, or what was the idea going into this race?
Well, to be honest with you, at the first run, I think me and the 5 were kind of thinking the same thing. If we get enough cautions, I don't have to stop. Tire wear wasn't that bad, and fuel was close. I think when I pitted on lap 48, I think I was like 2 laps to the good under caution. As soon as I went green, I went back to like bang on fuel. But it was just too close. I didn't want to chance it, so I just pitted, got 4 tires and some gas, and came back out. But other than that, car rotated. I mean, absolutely immensely through the center of the corner. Like I was surprised. I thought it would be sliding all over the place.
Yeah, obviously with all those cautions, all of those restarts, you were able to stretch that gap to over a second. Every time it was just destroyed. Surely that's got to be mentally draining for you, like all of your hard work just gone straight away.
Yeah, I think it was the next to last run, long run. I think I ended up catching Leo, and I was like, I can either go for it and pass him and burn my stuff up because I'm only a second and a half out, or I can just sit and ride and try to maintain the gap, and that's all I did. Um, it didn't make any sense to me right then to burn all my stuff up. I didn't know if we were going to try to go green to the end, and I pitted so early that
Hmm.
I I wanted something at the end if I needed it. And then all the restarts, like you said, I was cussing very loudly for every single one of them. Not against anybody, like everything was cool, but like
Yeah,
you said, man, just to stack everybody back up on your back bumper is absolutely mind draining.
yeah, I can imagine. Before we sign off, is there anyone cheering you on at home, friends, family, sponsors you like to shout out?
Yeah, again, shout out to my mom and dad. They watched the stream the last time I won out in New Hampshire. So shout out to them. Thank you for keep watching Rubbins Racing. My girlfriend, she supports me enough to, let me not answer the phone for the hour and a half that I'm in here. Thank my teammate Robbie. I don't know if I squeezed him in, I think it was the next to last restart. If I did, man, I apologize. I got to look at the replay on that one. We'll talk it out. We'll figure it out. H&M Motorsport, shout out to them boys. Rubbinsracing.com and Linden Steel, Better Hammer on Twitch. Dude, I watched the replays back on your channel at work. I hope my bosses again ain't listening, but I do. Like it's a good feeling, man. Can't
Yeah, I
lie.
can imagine. Yeah, I would feel good about that one as well. Thank you very much.
And
I'll
you
see you
guys up in the booth as well. Like I don't think I shouted y'all out last time, so I'm sorry I interrupted you. Let's make sure I got it this time.
next. No worries. Yeah. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you next
Absolutely,
week,
brother.
hopefully.
Yes, sir.
Dominic DeLeo coming home in that P2 spot. An absolute drive at the end there. I think it was up 2 or 3 spots. Just take us through that final few laps where you just came up. It's almost like the clouds parted for you. Like everything just happened at the right timing and you just.
Yeah, Finley. I don't really know what happened. The goal I think was to get tires and then kind of get caught up in cautions. Which really I thought I was just going to kind of pick off 2, another caution, pick off 2, throw another caution. I just think we ran out of laps there at the end. Really would have liked to, race Garrett at the end there. I thought we had a pretty fast car. He passed me on the outside on one of the restarts, like halfway through the race, and I don't know how he did it, but congrats to him. From then on, I decided to just kind of reset because starting on the outside here is pretty much just a kiss of death. You really got to fight down to the inside there, especially into the first corner. So after he passed me, a caution came out. Decided to go with that strategy, kind of pit for tires, and then just kind of click them off. But then got caught up in some incidents. Obviously, everybody's racing hard, and it was fun racing. It was the first time I actually raced Martinsville, and I would do it again. It was very fun, and that's just how the racing is here. But congrats to Garrett, and it looks like these kind of flat short tracks are kind of his bread and butter. We got the better at me in New Hampshire a couple weeks ago. So he's climbing it up into the standings, and Nick Leo didn't have the greatest race tonight, so hopefully we chipped a little bit away into the lead there, and gearing up for next week at Michigan, I think, where we're finishing it off.
Yeah. Also, you mentioned that's how the racing goes at this track. It's definitely not a bump and run. Did you factor that into the strategy at all? Did you think there were going to be loads of cautions, or what was your bet on how many cautions there would be tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many there were, probably like 8 or 9. I think there was going to be a decent amount. I thought we would get one long green flag run in, and that was kind of, I pitted early when I was battling with Jared early on in the race. Just hoping we would get a green flag run because I think, full fuel was like 120 laps. It was a 140 lap race. Everybody needed to pit at least once. And then track position obviously so important here.
Yeah.
I factored it in. I thought we would get at least one, 60, 70 lap run. That didn't happen tonight, but it was still a good race.
Yeah, it ended up being, I think, 11 or 12 cautions tonight. So,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
quite a total. Before we sign off, there was anyone, friends, family, sponsors, cheering you on from home you'd like to shout out?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my wife, as always, everybody at Physicus Motorsports, Eat Sleep Race, our sponsor here, RubbinsRacing.com, the main sponsor of Rubbins Racing, Butt Kicker, Linden Steel Company, Better Hammer on Twitch, everybody at the league here. It's been good fun racing. Excited to finish it off next week. And you, Finley, for putting on the broadcast, Team Goon Squad. You guys do a great job. Excited to go watch it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that one. I'll see you in the finale next week then.
All right. See you next week. Hopefully, I'm talking to you next week, Finley. Thanks.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. See ya. And finally, our P3 finisher, Butch Taylor, our highest climber tonight, up 10 spots from where he began. Just take us through the strategy and what was the idea going into this race, or did you expect to make your way all the way up?
Basically, I just had a plan to ride and see where I could finish at. Ended up getting a few laps down. A lot of tight racing out there, bumping and grinding. Hey, I got into the 52 earlier in the race. Shout out to him. Apologize again if it was me. But other than that, tickled with the finish.
Yeah, it was definitely a very interesting finish. Coming home in that P3 spot, of course, the big points to help you in that championship. I asked this to one of our other drivers earlier on in the interviews. However, it's such a bump and run track with loads of cautions, loads of incidents. Did you factor that into your strategy? What was your bet on how many cautions there would be tonight?
I figured there would be several cautions. Like I said, I had a plan. I didn't even qualify. Just took the last position, rode in the back, and just tried to work my way up through the cautions and keep the car clean. Worked out. Was in, I think, 5th place with 2 to go, and ended up getting a P3 out of it. So tickled with that.
Yeah, I would definitely be as well. The aim of the game, of course, to keep your nose clean as much as you can, track position being so important at this track. Before we sign off, is there any friends, family, sponsors at home you'd like to shout out?
I'd like to give a shout out to RubbinsRacing.com, a great group of guys over there, Linden Steel Company, and Better Hammer on Twitch. It's a good, fun league. Hopefully we can keep growing the league and see where it takes us.
Yeah, it's a brilliant one to commentate. A lot of action, and I guarantee it's definitely a lot of fun to drive as well. Thank you very much, and I'll hope to speak with you again, hopefully, next week in the finale.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. See ya.
See you.
Ladies and gentlemen, those were our top 3 drivers tonight. Garrett Hall, Dominic DeLeo, and our P3 finisher, Butch Taylor. That it was the round 11 of Rubbins Racing Next Gen Series every Tuesday night, sponsored by Butt Kicker. Join us next week for the season finale. I'm definitely excited for that one. I'm sure we all are. It's going to be an absolutely brilliant race for sure in Michigan. Don't miss a moment of the action. Make sure you're subscribed to Team Goon Squad so you don't miss that notification bell. Got to get the plug in there. Thank you, of course, for watching. My name's Finny Fitzsimmons on behalf of Team Goon Squad, and I will see you next week for the season finale. See you on the other side. Goodbye.